All right, guys. The injuries that we had, Trey Lance, obviously, he ended up breaking his ankle. He'll end up getting surgery tomorrow morning.
Felt good to be back out there. Just feel terrible for Trey. I've been on that side of it. This league is tough, and everyone has their share of injuries, but that sucks for him, and feel bad for him. But he's our brother, and we'll pick him up.
Guys, we got some pretty good or bad news depending on how you want to look at it. So the NFL's Week 2 matchup had the Seattle Seahawks travel to the Bay Area to face off against one of their division rivals, the San Francisco 49ers. Now this was probably going to be one of the more easier tests for sophomore QB Trey Lance, as the Seahawks are somewhat in a rebuild after trading Russ during the offseason. Heading to this game, there was a lot of drama during the week surrounding the young QB, as it was alleged that he attended a strip club after the loss to the Bears. However, it seems like there may have been an old video from the summer that resurfaced, but that still didn't stop Colin Cowherd from obliterating the kid during the week.
Can't complete 50% of his throws, making it rain at a strip club.
Anyways, so a lot was on the line for Trey Lance against the Seahawks. However, if you notice the timing of the strip club video, it is pretty important here. There were rumblings a week earlier that Kyle Shanahan may not be entirely convinced by the youngster. Hence, do not put it by teams who might push a certain narrative. In fact, this is what seemed to happen to Jimmy Garoppolo just a month prior, when reports out of nowhere began talking about how Jimmy G would ignore the 49ers during the offseason.
Now, there's a couple of reports coming out about Jimmy Garoppolo that are not very positive, and I don't know why this would be getting out right now when it seems like we're on the precipice for him going to another team.
And apparently there was some dismay that in 2018, after he got his money, he just disappeared. Until it was time to show up for the offseason program.
I know so many people out there in San Francisco, Kyle couldn't keep track of it. I've heard this from players, ex-coaches there. He goes off the radar all the time.
Honestly, I have no idea how this even makes any sense when the 49ers were trying to offload Garoppolo, as this obviously doesn't bode well for his trade value. But remember, Pat McAfee once did talk about how teams would push a certain agenda through the media.
You have to think about, why would league source, anonymous league source, tell Diana that information? Well, maybe it's a team trying to save their ass. Greg Jennings goes on a 4-minute run. Okay, that Nick Wright is prodding out of him to tell terrible stories about Aaron Rodgers.
That being said, Jimmy G was kept and stayed as the backup because San Francisco could not find a trade partner, and more likely because Kyle Shanahan wasn't completely sold on Trey. Last week, there were discussions that if Trey Lance wasn't able to lead the team, that Shanahan would have no problems instilling Jimmy G back in the lineup. But I guess all that is now scrapped, because on the 49ers' first drive against the Seahawks, Trey went down with a major ankle injury as he was carted off the field. First off, I gotta say, I feel terrible for the youngster. This was the 4th game he ever started, and it's just a gruesome injury from innocuous play. And early reports are he could be sidelined for the entire season. Anyways, if I'm gonna be honest, I do think San Francisco should have not gotten away from Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he is a better quarterback, even for the future. But this is a team that is stacked on the roster and is able to win now. So I don't even know why they moved away from Jimmy when he's already taken them to 2 championship games and even to the Super Bowl. Anyways, Garoppolo stepped into the game for Lance, and to be truthful, he did what was asked of him. He didn't turn over the ball, he managed the game well, threw 1 touchdown, and ran 1 in for himself as he led the Niners past the Seahawks 27-7. That said, in the event that Trey's injury isn't too serious and he's able to come back midway through the season, I don't even think he can get the team back from Jimmy G unless we see a disastrous run of results. And to be honest, it's quite unfortunate because Lance hasn't really had a fair shot. Compare him to the other QBs from his draft class, and he hasn't even had a full season. When you look at Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and Justin Fields, they've all had a full season under their belt, and their respective organizations have been fairly patient with them.